I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Sorry, I just think that whole thing is hilarious. How much does that suck? You have to go from there back to Haiti? Sucks to be you. Joining me now, Alexis Wilkins, press secretary for the great Congressman Abe Hamadeh, and of course, Brianna Lyman, elections correspondent for the Federalist. Alexis, he most definitely is going back to Haiti, and that also means the scumbags in the Biden administration knew exactly where that savage was for the entirety of his presidency, and they just freaking let him just go do his thing.
Yes, he is going home with a one-way ticket, thanks to the Trump administration finally coming in here and ensuring that law and order is actually something that's pursued in the United States. I mean, really, we're just getting back to law and order. The Biden administration knew where this guy was. They knew that he was likely dangerous. I mean, the things that we're finding on illegal immigrants that have crossed the border, we're finding UN gift cards. We're finding cell phones. I think one guy had $500 worth of gift cards and 5 cell phones. They know where these people are. They are allowing them to hurt American citizens. And I'm so happy to see a stop to this, especially with a semi-comical clip as this one.
I think it's funny they found them, by the way, because even illegals don't spend gift cards. None of us do. All right, Brianna, the Laken Riley Act, very popular in Republican circles, not so popular with AOC. Here she was.
In this bill, if a person is so much as accused of a crime, if someone wants to point a finger and accuse someone of shoplifting, they will be rounded up and put into a private detention camp and sent out for deportation without a day in court.
Yes. Why is that a problem for anybody?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all on board for that. You know, first, when we talk about the Laken Riley Act in general, this is a great step in the right direction, but we have to remember that there is still no accountability right now for Alejandro Mayorkas and Joe Biden. They may not be in office anymore, but Alejandro Mayorkas was tasked with securing the homeland and making sure our border was secure. Him and Joe Biden took deliberate steps that did the opposite and led to a scenario in which Jose Ibarra he was essentially flourishing to murder someone. There needs to be accountability for that, and I hope Republicans don't let that fall to the wayside simply because they're out of office. As for AOC, I think what she's saying kind of goes to a larger point. For some reason, the left and Democrats do not see a difference between an American citizen and someone who is on American soil. And that is inherently detrimental to the future of this country, because if you can't understand that there is inherent value in being American and protecting Americans and American culture, you cannot create a nation that sustains itself for the future. And AOC is not the only person who thinks like this. There are millions of her out there. Unfortunately, not all of them are in Congress, but that's a real threat.
Yeah, it is an extreme threat. And actually, you've been hot lately on the census. I wonder how many American citizens know that these illegals are counted in the census. When I tell my normie friends that, they're just stunned, or they think I'm lying. They think I'm some kind of right-wing propagandist, but you've been talking about that a lot.
Yeah, you know, Donald Trump tried to get illegal immigrants out of the census, and Joe Biden actually did the opposite and made sure that they were going to be counted. And what people, I think, fail to realize is that the census accounts for things like electoral college votes and congressional apportionment. And the idea that an illegal immigrant isn't allowed to vote, which is true, right, because they're not citizens, but that they somehow deserve the power to dilute the weight of an American voter by artificially inflating certain areas or districts, upping that population, which then gives those areas more congressional representation and dilutes the power of, let's say, a smaller area that's comprised of 100% American citizens who can vote, is preposterous.
Yeah, it's insane. Alexis, we've seen publication after publication now try to scream about this whole birthright citizenship thing that Donald Trump is trying to correctly do away with. And it's crazy to me how many different entities and people, legal and otherwise, in this country just really feel entitled to having citizenship in the greatest country on earth. They feel like it should just belong to everyone.
It's ridiculous to see that people can jump from breaking the law to actually becoming legal citizens in this country through illegal ways. The thing about it is that just because you were born here, people found a lot of ways around this. And I know that people want to reference the 14th Amendment, and I understand that this will probably have its bout in courts, but people have abused this practice. And the Biden administration has not enforced any legal immigration. They have not encouraged it. In fact, they have done exactly the opposite by giving illegal immigrants more rights and things to use in cash and phones, as I mentioned before, than legal citizens. So why wouldn't they abuse this loophole that they found? And I think shutting it down and starting over and figuring out how to do this the right way is the right thing to do, honestly, because if they came here illegally, they've already broken the first principle. They came here illegally. Shut it down.
One thing I've found encouraging, Brianna, lately, maybe it's just in my head, but it doesn't appear that the media hoaxes that they used to be able to create out of just thin air, it doesn't appear they're landing anymore. They tried one with Pete Hegseth. Well, they've been trying one every 35 seconds with Pete Hegseth talking to his ex-wife's dog's uncle's mother that Pete had a beer one time, and it just doesn't seem to be landing. Are you getting that impression? It doesn't feel like it's landing to me.
It's not. What the mainstream propaganda press on the left has not realized for some reason is that they haven't learned their lesson. The American people repudiated the mainstream narratives that we were, told for the past 8 years, right? After seeing hoax after hoax, lie after lie, people have tuned out. There is record high distrust in the left-wing corporate press because of their own actions. And you would think that after this election, where they ignored every single hoax that they tried to throw out against Donald Trump Republicans, they would have learned their lesson that character assassination is no longer a convincing argument for the American people. They're doubling down on it. And so I think you won't see, however, the same reaction from the public toward these reports because they're so unsubstantiated and they're so much They're simply created to create fodder for Democrats. That's their only purpose because these aren't journalists, they're propagandists.
Alexis, I'll be honest, I had no idea you were a press secretary now. What's it like being a press secretary? Is that weird? Does it feel awesome or a little bit gross?
It's exciting to be part of an office that is trying to right the ship and promote an agenda that is actually, I think, aiming to help the American people. Our agenda is very consistent with the things that the American people voted for on November 5th, for, of course, President Trump's agenda, outing a lot of the things that the Biden administration tried to bring into our government, and, of course, saving money, respecting American people and the things that they want and their rights and the Constitution, a wild concept. It's nice to be able to be on a team that is committed to righting the ship. Of course, Congressman Abe is on the HASC committee. He's on Veteran Affairs. He's a veteran himself. And so he is committed to making sure that those stakeholders are respected as well. So let's, back the blue, respect our military, and get this thing sorted.
Ladies, appreciate you as always. All right. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.